Thank you, everybody. First of all, where's Buster Sawyer? Is he here? I heard he was doing a tape. This is not the first time I've seen it at this podium, believe it or not. Buster had his 25th anniversary and invited me to come and speak to his congregation. So it's always awkward for a Catholic to stand behind a podium on a stage that's a church. So it hasn't changed. It's still awkward. And I want to say hello to just about everybody in this room that I know. Hold on, real quick. Let me put this down. Who has my cell phone number? Linda, I hear you talking. All right, so it's nice to know because I feel sometimes that we are singing to the choir, and I guess you can do that here, but we do have a lot of political things to talk about, and I know a lot of you have not heard me speak politically because it kind of makes your skin crawl at times. But this year I think it's very important that we make our positions clear and that we stand up for what we believe in. I want to thank Tom Byrne for writing a report that was very insightful and one that we all need to read very carefully again and again and again. And Jim Hughes, Professor, congratulations on everything that you've done. I hope you gave a little uplifting speech. I remember in 2009, every time you and I were on the same podium, I kept saying, does he ever have anything fun to say? I mean, there's hope, right? We choose to believe that tomorrow will be better than today. We have to believe that. How do you get up every day if we don't do that? Especially here in this church with a microphone that's way too high. Yeah, I'm probably a little too loud, so why don't we just go this way? You know, all of you know, that I've been traveling the state of New Jersey for 8 years and talking to businesses, trying to keep businesses here, fighting to keep businesses here, trying to create jobs here. We win some, we lose some, the numbers speak for themselves. I don't know how much you covered already, Jim, but you know, we were at 8% unemployment. Unemployment's at about 50%. We are, technically speaking, we have the highest number of people working in the state of New Jersey today than we have in the history of this state. We have done pretty well in terms of increasing our take-home pay. We've had about 130,000 small businesses created in the last 8 years. That's a 20% increase over time. And I could give you all those numbers, and they're real numbers. I would never lie in a church. But the problem we have in New Jersey is nobody feels it. Nobody believes it. You can read the polls and know that nobody believes that we're actually doing better today than we were 8 years ago. The biggest complaint I hear, and the reason I believe they don't believe it, is because it's just too darn expensive to live here. I mean, you can't afford to live here, you can't afford to die here, everybody's out of here. And we know that empirically. We don't have to guess, unfortunately. Which is why I want to thank Michelle Sakurka at BIA and Tom Bracken and the rest of their help at the Chamber to call attention to the affordability issue. And it is an affordability issue. How many times, and I've had these conversations with the people in this room, I cannot find people that are willing to live here. It's too expensive. We have to fix it. And quite frankly, I'm going to talk to you for a minute today about fixing it. You know, I've visited a lot of businesses. I'm not going to talk about a business. I'm going to talk about a food bank in Atlantic County. I visited a food bank in Atlantic County a couple of months ago, and there was a woman who was shopping for food. She goes there twice a month. She came up to me with tears running down her face, and she said, "You have to help me. I work 2 jobs, a Rite Aid and a CVS. My husband works at the casinos. He works full-time. My daughter is so proud to be an American that she's a United States Marine. Yet if she knew I was shopping here twice a week to make ends meet, she would be mortified." How does that happen in New Jersey, one of the richest states in the country? It happens because we have not yet started to talk out loud about the things we need to talk about. You know it as well as I do. It's property taxes. That woman couldn't decide whether to pay her property taxes put food on her table. She chose to pay her property taxes and go to a food bank and shop for food. If that doesn't break your heart, nothing will. I challenge Phil Murphy to do the same. Go to the food bank, watch the people come in and out who are already fully employed, who can't make ends meet. And don't get me wrong, it's not just Atlantic County, it just happened to be the one where she walked up to me in tears. That's the story we need to start to talk about. That's the story I hope you all bring back down to the level of real people. That's the story that today is about. But I don't want you talking way up here. I need you talking down here. Because that's where the people need the most help. And you have to talk out loud about what the real problems are. No doubt Tom Byrne talked about the pension and how it's broke and how we have to fix it, and the commission's report about how we can fix it, because he too chooses to believe that it can be fixed. But I want to talk about those people who really need our help now. Real people. Now, I'm not just suggesting that we don't need help in the pensions and the health care. I'm not suggesting that we don't need to make sure jobs continue to be created here. Don't get me wrong, I'm not neglecting it. I'm just talking about the number one issue that should be facing politicians in the state today, because it's the number one issue facing people in the state today. Property taxes. I'm the only one with a plan. You may not like the plan. Everybody criticizes the plan. That's the problem with having a plan. People criticize it. It's easy to shoot at things. It's easy to shoot at things. But if you don't have a plan, or worse yet, if your plan is like Phil Murphy's plan, just make more money, that's not a plan. And you're not helping the people who need the most help in this state. And quite frankly, if you're running for governor, and the number one problem in this state is property taxes, you better have a plan. Let them like it or not. My plan is really quite simple. I'm going to save, on average, $800 for those who need it most in New Jersey off their property taxes. You may not like it, but it's a plan. And it is a plan that I have sworn, if I don't implement and if it doesn't work, I will run again. I challenge Phil Murphy to talk about that person at the food bank, to talk about the number one problem facing New Jerseyans today, and then come up with a real plan to fix it. One that's really going to help people. You're going to have to go to the food bank first, Phil. You know, not everybody lives in Navesink River Road. Not everybody pays $200,000 in property taxes. Not everybody pays earns $7 million a year without having to work in New Jersey. Yeah, that was a shot. Yeah, it made you a little creeped out, didn't it? But it's true. You have to walk in people's shoes. I could get up here and get a little preachy. But it's true. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not going to be a toxic conversation. These are facts. Phil Murphy pays $200,000 a year in property taxes. He made $7 million a year last year. Didn't work a day. And he's trying to tell people who are shopping at food banks that they don't need a property tax plan? It's unacceptable. Now, Phil Murphy lives in my town. Well, he lives in my county. That's why I say it's not going to be a toxic conversation. It's going to be a conversation about the issues. He lives on the other side of the Navesink River. But Tammy Murphy, his wife, and my 8th grade son at the time, she was the class mom for my son's class. It's not going to be a toxic conversation on my side. It's going to be a conversation about real issues facing the real people of New Jersey. The woman who has to shop at a food bank to make ends meet while her daughter serves her country and pledges to lose her life so we can all be here. That's what this is about. It's going to be a very, very simple question. When you ask Phil Murphy, are you going to keep the arbitration clause? Are you going to keep the 2% cap? Are you going to continue to limit and work on property taxes? The answer is either I haven't thought about it, or we're just going to wait until a commission talks about it. Well, let me tell you what happens, and if there's any mayors in the room you know already, and I saw Bill Dressler here somewhere. Where are you, Bill, in the back? He knows what happens if we don't have the 2% cap in the arbitration clause. What happens is our property taxes go up. We know it because we've seen it for years. An average of 7%. So I know why he can't sign the clauses, because he's promised, in order to get the endorsement of the PBA and the FOP, that he's not going to sign it, because they want their 4% contract increase. You go to the PBA, talk to Pat Colligan, as I have. I'm a member of the FOP, talk to Mr. Fox, as I have. And you say, if you take the lid off the only thing keeping property taxes low in this state, your property tax, we know, will go up 7% at least. You'll get your 4% contract increase, but your property taxes will go up 7%. Do the math. They lose in the long run. More money will come out of their pocket in the long run. But Phil Murphy can't sign it. Can't sign it because he made a promise to the PBA and a promise to the FOP that he won't. Shame on him for not thinking about the people like the woman in the Atlantic County Food Bank. That's the person who needs the most help. I'm not neglecting law enforcement. I've been a federal prosecutor, a state prosecutor, and a sheriff. I'm just saying, these people need relief. And there's a way to do it. Sign the arbitration cap. Keep the 2% cap in play. Stop making promises that you cannot keep. New Jersey's smarter than that. Talk to too many of you. And if you're going to hire a governor, you're going to have to hire a governor who has promised to take on the #1 toughest problem facing all of us. You can't afford to live here. You can't afford to die here. You can find a job here now, but you're moving to Pennsylvania. Empirically, we know that. You're moving to New York. How does that happen? You're moving to Delaware. Knock it off. Stop it. We have to stop it. Asbury Park Press noted, on average, property taxes go up 9%. We pay 9% of our household income goes to property taxes. Can't afford it. Now people say, well, you'll never get a 5%. That's my $800 plan. You'll never get 5% of the household income passed through the legislature. You will never be able to really fix the #1 problem in New Jersey. You know, I choose to believe that we can fix it. I chose the 5% plan that averages out about $800 a year per family in savings for property tax. I chose that because I pulled it out of a page from the Democrats in Massachusetts and Illinois. So if we can do it in Massachusetts and Illinois, we can do it in New Jersey, and quite frankly, we owe it to the people of New Jersey to do it here, and do it now. Again, I know we have a lot of other problems we have to fix. But we gotta keep our people here. We have to give our senior citizens hope that they can raise and meet their grandchildren here. We've got to give our millennials hope that they'll be able to afford a new house here without ever increasing property taxes. We have to give people who live paycheck to paycheck, or two-income families, when they lose that one income or lose that one paycheck, give them hope that they will be able to stay in the homes in the state that they know they love and grew up in. That's what this campaign is about. Because if we don't do that, all the rest is gravy. All the rest is unimportant. It is time for all of us to stand up as politicians, as public servants, I prefer, to start talking about the #1 problem that's on your mind. How do we make New Jersey affordable for all of our children and our seniors and my mom and your dad? Or your kids. So when my 3 kids come back from wherever they go, that they come back with a quality job that pays them a living wage, that allows them to keep a roof over their heads. It's not going to be easy. Nothing in life really is. Campaigning is easy. Governing is hard. You can make all sorts of promises that you never intend to keep so that you can get endorsements from people in the primary, and then you can back off of all those promises in the general. But the people of New Jersey know better. I cannot wait to debate Phil Murphy. October 11th and October 18th. Because I'm going to ask him, what's his property tax plan? How are you going to fix the biggest problem facing New Jerseyans today? And then I'm going to ask him how he's going to pay for all those promises he made in the primary and he's now backing off. There's nothing a prosecutor likes to say or ask more than the following question on cross-examination. Were you telling the truth then, or are you telling the truth now? Because I'm getting 2 answers out of it, or no answer at all. You all demand an answer before you vote. I am an open book. As Michelle said, everyone has my cell phone number. I gave it to 2,000 firefighters on Friday, and that was fun. But the point is, people need to know who you are. Are you only going to raise taxes $3 billion? Not $3 billion, but $1.3 billion? Are you going to only raise taxes $1.3 billion? Well, he said it in his own words. We're running it in a commercial now. This is Michael Aaron. I don't see Michael here either. Michael Aaron, are there other taxes you would raise to get the revenue necessary in order to keep your promises? These are Michael Aaron to Phil Murphy. Phil Murphy responds without hesitation. The answer is yes. And later he says it's a ton of money. Can't afford it. Look, if we could make a full pension payment, it'd be done already. It would be. If we thought taxing millionaires was the way out of this mess, it would have been done already. But it failed when John Corzine did it in 2009, and it's failing in Connecticut today. It doesn't work. Call Governor Malloy and ask him how he's doing. Google Governor Malloy and taxes and ask him if he thinks raising taxes is a solution out of Connecticut's mess. The richest state in the country. It's not. We need to be reasonable and rational, and we need to help the people who need the most help now. Phil has endorsed higher income taxes, higher sales taxes. He wants to reinstate the estate tax, like the Transportation Trust Fund or not. We negotiated a solution that included a 21-cent tax increase on gas, and then a number of tax revenue changes on the back end, and now he wants to renege on that deal. He wants to reinstate the state tax. At least that's what he said in the primary. Higher taxes are not the solution. They are, as he would say, a hard stop on this economy. We all want Amazon to come here. We worked very hard to bring the 13,000 Amazon jobs that are already here. We have 2 subsidiaries of Amazon here, Audible.com and Whole Foods. There is absolutely no reason Amazon doesn't at least consider us competitive. I can tell you one reason. You go to the $15 minimum wage. You raise business taxes. You raise just about all of the taxes I said. And then you go to Amazon and say, oh, we're business friendly again, and you can afford to open your doors here and bring 50,000 jobs here. It does not work that way, Phil. The numbers have to make sense. You can't just say, come to New Jersey. It doesn't work that way. It's a little naive. Look, the only promise Phil Murphy has made that I actually believe is the promise that he will raise taxes $1 billion. I also happen to believe that he's going to have to raise taxes more than that to keep half of his promises. And just last week, he greatly welcomed Governor Florio's ideas of raising the tolls, raising all of the fees at the MDC, and privatizing the turnpike. Well, we know what happened to the last Goldman Sachs governor who made that recommendation. We can't afford it. We have to start reining in our spending. We have to stop pushing those people that are actually able to pay taxes and increase our revenue out of the state of New Jersey, and we need to do it now. And the only way that's going to happen, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, the only way that's going to happen is if you vote your pocketbook in 2 months. Because the only person who will be able to afford to live in New Jersey if Phil Murphy becomes the governor of the state of New Jersey will be Phil Murphy himself. I'm not kidding. You're smart people. Do the math. You're going to be taxed out of New Jersey. We're already losing people right and left. Enough. And we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do in many different areas: COA, pensions, property tax relief, but also we need to do organic growth. I worked very hard with the Chamber of Commerce and BIA to keep companies here and keep small businesses here. We went out on the road and pitched small businesses so they could stay here. And it was Tom Bracken's line, if every single small business in New Jersey hired just one more person, we'd be unemployment zero. Small businesses aren't going to be able to stay here with the economic plan that I have seen come from Phil Murphy's campaign. Forget for a moment the Bank of New Jersey. That's a great idea. Let's send all of our state deposits to a bank so someone in Trenton can manage it for us all. It's irresponsible. I call it the wacky bank idea. There's got to be better ideas, and there are. And the better idea is really quite simple. Let's do what they do in Israel. Let's make New Jersey the startup state. Let's create an office of innovation. Let's do it privately, with funds privately. Israel didn't give $1 billion to pick the winners and losers in small companies to become that startup nation. But for every dollar that was put into their program in Israel, $5 came back. It was the ultimate Shark Tank. Why can't we do that? People said we couldn't decrease unemployment 50% in 5 years. People said we couldn't attract companies here because of our tax structure, because it was so expensive to live here. But we have. It can be done. I choose to believe it can be done. Because I'm talking about the #1 problem in this state and fixing it. And then becoming an innovative state, not at your expense. I would create an office of innovation. I would put our vocational schools on steroids so those middle skills are developed, so kids who don't go to college right away have a skill that pays them a living wage, that allows them to go to work. And then if they decide they want to go to college, do what we call stackable credentials, earn a 2-year degree and then a 4-year degree. I would make college education available to them through those mechanisms, not through free college education. I don't know about you, I have a 17-year-old. You give him something free and he certainly doesn't appreciate it. So there's a lot of things we can do, in this state to continue it moving forward. We've done a lot. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. We need to do better. But I'm absolutely positive it starts with property taxes and a plan. And I'm proud to say I have one. So I look forward to having all of you vote. I look forward to you giving me your recommendations going forward. Because so long as you don't care who gets the credit, it's amazing how much stuff you get done in New Jersey. And I think it is time for all of us to have a seat at the table and have an open and honest conversation, a thoughtful and respectful conversation.